Hey, welcome to Trial by Father. I'm Isaac, and as a brand new dad, I've got more questions than I have answers for. So, I'm sitting across the table from other parents who are further along the journey than I am, hoping to learn from their wisdom. I want to explore what it looks like to raise children in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. And my hope is that it'll spark meaningful conversations around your own table so that we can all learn what it looks like to be the parents God has called us to be. In this episode, I got to sit down with Jason Arrington and talk all about the high school years. Jason is the program director at Bethel Christian Camp, and he and his wife have 4 kids ranging from the high school years and beyond into college. I really appreciated this conversation, especially the encouragement that Jason offered, where his goal for his children is that they would clearly know what the scriptures teach about who Jesus is and that they would have the opportunity to respond, each one of them individually. Unfortunately, in this episode, we had some technical difficulties in recording, and so only audio is available, and even that is a little subpar from the standard quality. We hope you'll stick with it and listen through because there's some helpful insight in this conversation. With that, let's dive in. All right, well, thanks for coming in, Jason, and sitting down to have this conversation. Why don't you give us a little 30-second introduction of yourself, who you are and what your family looks like.
All right, I'm Jason Arrington. I'm married to Christine Arrington, been married for 26 years now, going on 27. We've got
Awesome.
4 kids, ranging in, our oldest is 25, then 20, then 19, and then our youngest at 17.
Okay.
So brought us to South Carolina is Bethel Christian Camp, where I'm program director, so-called, right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm looking forward to this conversation. Our families have been close to each other for some time.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember living up in Virginia, just a couple blocks down the street from where you all were at.
Yep.
And
It's crazy.
as life would have it, you all moved down to where we're at in South Carolina. So,
Yep. Keep mixing in.
yeah. So what I'd love to talk with you about is parenting in the high school years specifically. So I've got to have lots of different conversations with parents at different stages. And so what I'd love to hear from you is just to start, if you have any thoughts on what's been your experience in the distinctness of parenting during this stage of life where your kids are hitting, 9th grade, 10th grade, getting close to graduating, thinking about college, all this kind of stuff. What has been your experience of how it's unique?
Yeah, I think it's one of the things. Even when you first called me, though, Isaac, was that I don't have a game plan for parenting. I still remember when Christine came in and told me not too long after we got married that she was pregnant, and
Sure.
my mind just went blank because I couldn't think. I was like, "What in the world?" Because we weren't planning that, but
Sure.
it just happened. But once it did, it was a matter of, okay, how do we do this now for high school? See, I'll forget your question real quick. What's the first part of the question?
What's been your
What's distinct about high
yeah,
school?
what's distinct, like, when you're raising a 2-year-old,
Sure,
you're doing a lot to keep them alive.
Yes,
How
absolutely.
much are you trying to keep a 15-year-old alive versus
Same amount, maybe more. And it's because when they're 2, and that's one of the things I like about the home life. I think we wanted to reflect in the home life that the things that are done at home, the dangers that are at home, or the joys that are at home, are just a small part of what's going to be once you get outside.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So we did that a lot for discipline.
Okay.
As far as if it was discipline for a 2-year-old, we made sure it was clear that, hey, listen, you don't do that as best we could, and that they understood that that's not something that
Sure.
we do now. As a high schooler, they're thinking, they've got their own taste,
Sure.
they got their own personalities. I always say we've got 4 kids raised by the same 2 parents. We taught them the same things. We worship the same God. Yeah, they're completely different
absolutely.
from each other. So we had to learn to teach them in this, that, hey, the things that you're going to do, this could be the result of it.
Sure. Yeah.
I even talk to my boys especially. I say, hey, man, I want y'all to be people that people actually like. So let me tell you what you're doing right now that people are not going to like.
Sure, absolutely,
even
yeah.
personality traits
Yeah.
and things that you might do in conversations or in groups that people be like, you're annoying. We brought those things up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just so they'll have an idea of how to do that. So it's a matter of just looking at, I think in these high school years, they're looking at how it's going to look outside the home for them.
Gotcha.
So we can have little conversations inside the house and little things and say, hey, that's not too good or that is great, but you'll be kind of outside the home and by yourself and have to just kind of experience those on your own. So we try to give them a little bit in the house to let them, just to see how will that work once you're out.
Yeah.
Getting a job, meeting your spouse possibly, interacting with groups of people that you don't know.
Sure.
We think in that aspect of how can we teach them so that in just a few years you're going to be out there experiencing it.
Absolutely. What's been, so you're coming in and you're speaking as a level of authority as dad with your kids.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like you're saying, you're trying to prep them for what is essentially their autonomous living.
Yep.
Where they're going to be out on their own.
Yep.
And at least I know at least Alina, your oldest, is out on her own. Mm-hmm. And so what did you feel was some of that? How were you striking that balance between you trying to point out things you're noticing as dad and be authoritative about it, like, hey, learn from my wisdom, glean from my wisdom, but also letting them be their own person that's starting to make some of their own decisions? Does that question make sense in terms of striking that balance?
So you mean like if I have to come up and something is, they're in the house still, you're saying, but I know they're going to be leaving soon. How do I be? No, that's not happening.
Yeah.
But also let them be themselves. And
yeah.
So in the younger years, this is not happening, and you don't have to know why.
Sure. Right? Absolutely. Yeah.
You don't have to know why. You just respect me and you honor me. I think that's extremely important.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not looking at the teenage years being so much different from the younger years.
Okay.
If the younger years are done with an ability to say, hey, listen, we're setting the authority of this is what should be happening.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying your mom's perfect. But we're the ones that you respect. God calls you to respect us. That makes it easier as we move on because they've already seen that, how we've worked with them, how they've come back even after discipline. They've come back to us realizing what the reason was. Now, in teenage years, it's the same. We had a couple of these where it was hard. It was a hard no to certain things, and they tried to skirt past it. And I thought right away on a couple of those situations, you know what? We've been teaching them all these years. This is the way that you should go. Now that you're older, if I say, well, maybe we'll loosen up.
Sure.
That just puts everything that we've been teaching them to, that's not all that important.
Undermines it.
Yes, we have to hold up with what we've been teaching. And it's not so much a matter that we read a certain book and we have to do it this way. It's a matter of the fact that God says, listen, honor your father and your mother. Honor those in authority over you. Sure. We've taught you this. We've said this. And especially if it's things we've repeated, then we're throwing it out. And that, I think, which we hear about all the time with kids leaving home or leaving for college and turning away from Christ or the church, it's because it seems to get a little softer, I think. That was good for young, but now that you're able to make your own choices, you make your own choices.
Sure.
No, we've been teaching you to rely on the Lord and respect the authority. So it's hard, but it's just said just that plain. They're used to us speaking to them, though.
Sure.
That's the thing. It's easier when they're used to you speaking to them plainly, clearly, and they know they have a voice to say back.
Sure.
But more so, we share, this is why. This is why. You can understand better, this is why. So I even explained those things, and I had to even explain that to my own children. Hey, I have to hold to this because remember what we said before, that still stands. So that's one of the ways I think that really helps.
Gotcha. What I've gotten to talk to a lot of younger parents who have younger kids specifically.
What you saying? I ain't younger no more.
Don't do me like that now. Come on.
Sorry, man. I got a loud laugh.
I've gotten to talk to parents that have younger kids about discipline, and I'm just curious. How does that develop over time? I mean, I can look at my own life and being raised by my own dad, and you can see that there's a difference or whatever. And some of it comes that, if your parents, like mine, put in the work younger, there's not as much need for the discipline as you're getting older. But there still are instances and cases. So how have you been navigating that with older kids, specifically when it comes to, you mentioned that there have been some times where they've really tried to skirt around what is the law of the house. So how do you come in and exercise discipline in a way that you think is actually effective?
Okay, so you're talking about if, like when they're younger, you tap their hand or you put them in timeout and stuff like that. How do I do that with a teenager?
Yeah, sure. If they're 1 year old, you give them a little pop. If
Sure.
they're 5 years old, you
Sure.
give them a spanking. If they're
Yeah.
15 years old, what's
Yeah.
it look like?
Well, I was brought up in a home where spanking was, no, I wasn't even spanking. It was a little harder than spanking from my dad. My dad was a very strict disciplinarian. And as I grew and got married and had 4 kids, I realized the pressure he was under
Sure.
and how tired the man was. Coming home and then hearing his wife say, hey, 6 kids are acting the fool. I better understood why he went straight in and kind of handled business without a whole lot of talking.
Yeah.
So I was raised under the rule of spanking and discipline that way, but still with understanding. I think I always knew why I was getting a spanking.
Sure. Yeah.
Which translates into with our kids. My wife didn't come from that. She came. I mean, they did spankings, but my dad was a lot more strict and by the
Sure.
law.
Yeah.
So with our kids, as they get older, we knew it'd be a time. We didn't have a set time.
Sure.
Where we got to do it this way, or he's 11, or we gotta. It's all a matter of the kid and what the situation is. And so with the discipline of our high schoolers, it's more of again explaining what's going on, explaining what problems this would have, and just trying to get to the root issues of what we see in it. The fact that hey, you disrespected your mom when that happened. Maybe you didn't see it that way, but when she told you should be home at this time and you came home later. That's a straight disrespect of your mom, or it's a disrespect of me if you didn't finish your chores or whatever it is. It's a disrespect. So just trying to bring it down to what the root cause of what we see is, and then handling it, the same way. You losing privileges, losing freedom, and usually it always comes down to losing trust. And as you build a relationship from a childhood to now, trust is a serious thing for your child.
Yeah.
And it's fragile, man. That's something that they're going to have to learn as they go out of the house too. That you can have the best of friends and that you build a trust over years and years, but trust can be lost in 15 minutes.
Yeah. Wow.
And to gain it back,
That's a good word.
very, very difficult. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest part is because our hearts. My heart is an evil, natural heart.
Sure.
Thank God I've been redeemed.
Yeah.
But that flesh is still there.
Yeah.
And for me not to trust you or to not trust that you're going to do that's something that we put in front of them. And we do that because we are preparing them to go out. So we're teaching, one of the things I've told my kids many times is that we're teaching you what is truth, what we believe. And I'm talking about teaching you about the Lord, not just basic ways of living.
Sure.
What we teach you about the Lord and those principles, we want you to know for sure, so that if you choose, which is completely possible of all our children, to walk away from them, that they know they're walking away from them.
Sure.
Not that it's like, oh, well, I didn't know that, or that's
Sure.
it was just kind of a general idea of spirituality. You're walking away from every time we sin. Sin is not something that just happens, mistake, or I messed up. Sin is us choosing to say, I see your way, God. I choose not to go that way. So we try to put all of those into our kids and it's not a guilt trip type of thing. But it's just letting them know, hey, listen, you're losing these privileges because, or you can't do that because, or we can't trust you with that right now because. And it's tough and it's uncomfortable, but I think it's been received. It's been received.
That's cool. Yeah, I appreciate that language of trust being the value that can be lost.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've used that specific language with your kids or whatever, but it feels like, based on what you're saying, it lands either way, whether you use the language or not. The point lands where it's like you've lost some of my trust, and that does mean something because it means anything across any relationship that you have. Whether it be with your spouse, whether it be with a friend, anything that's a really valuable thing.
But let me say this: the most beautiful part about that, which we've seen work out too, that you can lose trust, seems like a heavy guilt trip to put on a 10th grader or 11th grader. But the fact is that, what have we done to gain the trust of our Savior?
Yes.
Who knows our every word and our every thought, but that is restored through forgiveness, through confession, through forgiveness. We're able to go on in our relationship being restored, as if he still sees all of my heart, but he embraces me.
Yeah.
And that has been, I think, from even early childhood of us disciplining our children, even with spankings, was always explain why you're getting spanked.
Sure.
Even though they may not have agreed with it, or the discipline or the loss of whatever they lost. And then it was an opportunity for, you want to confess that, or you want to come to us when you're ready.
Yeah.
And that's something that's a great principle to show in our human relationship with our kids that we've seen, but especially as they move out, to know that as much as you're going to mess up, and they will mess up a lot going out.
Sure. Yeah.
That they can come back to the Savior and say, I'm really sorry. Will you please bring me back? And the answer is always yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's gospel and flesh.
Yes.
That just being like really getting it nailed in. It's not ideas. It's it's really
beautiful.
practice. That's awesome. Yeah. What, as you talk about this idea of kids growing up and going out of the house, and one of the things that I've learned to try to care about a lot when I think, what's it going to look like to raise my kids? I mean, I've got a little infant that's 6 months old. He can't do anything right now. Barely hold his head up.
Make a mess.
But when you're an infant, you're 100% a consumer. That you just receive. That's all you. I mean, I guess you give some smiles every once in a while, but the trajectory that I think is good is that you move towards contribution rather than consuming. And what does it look like in this stage to help your high school kids grow in contribution to the household, and then connecting that idea to, you're about to go out into the real world, and the real world doesn't just hand you what you need.
Right.
You got to give.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that starts early too with chores around the house. You do certain things. You remember to do things. You put the charts up on the board so they can see what the chores are.
Sure.
And mark them off. We did like Monopoly money that they could see. If you got your chores done, then you got enough Monopoly money to watch a movie or do something like that.
Yeah.
That was always funny to see, because they would pool their money together and try to make sure.
That's fun. Yeah.
We were going to church one day, and they had forgotten to take the trash out for the week, and they were hustling, grabbing their trash and taking it out so they could get those bucks so they could watch a movie when they got home. So that all clicks at a young age. Older age, I think, I hear a lot of stories of like it doesn't really click, that a kid ends up like, whatever. That's dad's been taking out the trash forever.
Sure.
And even when they get a job, that's funny sometimes, where they feel like, oh man, I'm working like 6 hours a day, 3 days a week. I'm too tired to wash the dishes and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So they're getting a feel for that, though.
Yeah.
Man, I think teenage years, you're starting to get a feel for, oh, wait a minute, the responsibility that I have to other people, and then I still have responsibility at home. It doesn't lighten up. So in trying to keep that going, it's just reminders from us.
Gotcha.
And that's how we've chosen to do it. We don't have charts anymore, but
Sure.
if it's missed or if it's forgotten, and there's things around the house where you need to be taken care of and taking care of those responsibilities, then we ask.
Gotcha.
And now we ask expecting that you'll be up and doing it pretty
Sure.
quick.
Yeah.
But we do ask, and just and I want to try to give the kids I want to get a feel for my kids of how they will be as well while they're at home. If I'm always on top of them saying, do this, do this, do this, do this, then I'm not getting a feel for what they would think to do and when they would think to do.
Sure. Yeah.
Which I think is important. And then when the reminder comes from us, it's like, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot to do that again. Oh yeah, I forgot to do that again. Like even now, my boys are paying on their insurance. They're supposed to send it to me, and I have to send friendly text reminders every now and again with pictures of somebody getting their knees broken. And they get the picture and they say, oh, and I always put at the end, thank you for your patronage. But just remind us like that, because really right now it is, and to be honest, my wife is more on the side of the kids are leaving. I can't believe it. They're going to be gone. And I'm on the side of the kids are leaving. They're going to be gone. But just because it's, they need to be let go and see how they work. And they fail at some things. They don't do it sometimes. Like
Sure.
The dishes aren't done, but it's just a simple reminder.
Yeah.
Because I am looking for the long haul with them now in relationship. I'm not looking right now that after they move out in 5 years, I'm coming around their apartment or their house and saying, hey, what hasn't been done?
Sure.
I don't care.
Yeah.
It's the relationship that we're reminded, we tried to help, but now you go figure it out.
Yeah. Are there are there specific responsibilities that y'all have that are just like expectations? Every kid knows this is how I contribute to the household, not loosely, but like specifically.
Not that we've really laid out. They
Gotcha.
know, keep the house clean, take out
Sure.
the trash, clean up after yourself.
Yeah.
Do your own laundry. But we did that from a very early age.
Gotcha.
We were doing all of that stuff. But they've contributed on their own
Sure.
as well, and trying to help out when they see things that have been needed.
Gotcha.
And we've noticed that as well.
Yeah.
So
So they just have it in their heads.
Yes.
I'm part of the house, and I've got to play a part.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And that comes at your own pace. Sometimes I didn't think much about my own room until I moved out and I had my own room.
Sure.
Because I was living with my brothers in a house packed full of people. So I came out and had my own room. Then I started thinking, I want my room to be like this, or I want to take care of it this way.
Sure.
And we know that comes with just kind of, and for me, it's like let them feel the weight. Like you're spotting somebody in weightlifting, you don't just grab it and pull it
Sure.
off. You gradually see how much they have and you pull it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's what we want for them. And they do have and it brings joy to their heart. They have a sense of need.
Yeah.
And now as they're all working and knowing that they're making their money, it's that little tinge of this is my money, but hey, there's no groceries in there.
Sure. Yeah.
And we did that a few years ago with the kids a couple of times where I gave them a chance to sit down amongst them and say, how much do you think it would take for you guys to buy groceries for yourself?
Uh-huh.
And they kind of tried to figure it out, and then we gave them that amount of money and say, go do your own groceries.
Yeah.
And that was they did a really good job thinking together and trying to figure out, we got to do this.
Awesome.
This is how much
Yeah.
it costs. And then they went right back to consumer. I would too, but all of that stuff, I think, it's all about giving them a sense of the responsibility at their own pace.
Yeah.
But for us, it's if something's getting on my nerves, I'm like, this got to be cleaned up. I ask.
Sure. Yeah. That's awesome. I've pretty much asked every parent that I've sat down across from the different stages, because it's just the world we live in now. And I'm not fully settled on it for myself on what it'll look like. We'll have to figure it out along the way. But screens, social media, all that kind of stuff. It's a new introduction in our world for parents to try to think through. So what has it looked like for y'all? And I know sometimes screens and social media, they kind of fit in two different categories, so they're kind of linked a little bit.
Yeah, it seems like they're linked all the time. Aware. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. But what have y'all done as it specifically relates to the high school years, where they are becoming more independent, autonomous, making their own choices, that kind of stuff? What does it look like for y'all in terms of trying to help them see the benefits and then also the negatives of use with screens and social media? Yeah,
that's a tough one, man, because I think it's and when it comes to parenthood, all I think of is should have done, could have done.
Sure.
Not all, but a lot.
Yeah.
I think I told my sons several months ago when I was telling them how I feel as a dad. It usually feels like I'm failing. That's when I just think quickly and give an overlook.
Sure.
I'm failing.
Sure.
I came home and they're still alive. That's good. But will they be alive? Next week. It's always a heavy feeling of I'm failing somewhere. So the screen time thing could make you feel like you're missing something constantly. When I was a kid, we didn't have all this screen stuff. It was running out. My dad and mom probably thought, I don't know what he's doing out there. They went out. They've been out there for 9 hours.
Sure.
I don't know where they are. They just know he's supposed to be at home at this time.
Sure.
I don't even know if parents can imagine that if they told us to come home and be home by 7:30 and we didn't come home, they ain't had nobody to call, no cell phone.
Yep.
I guess we'll wait till 8:30, see if they show up.
Sure, yeah.
But it's I always feel like it's something that I'm missing because media is not run by Jesus from the heart of it. God's in control of all things, but Hollywood and media and social media. The Bible says that when we compare ourselves to ourselves, this is not wise. Social media is just constant comparing.
Sure.
Myself to my peers, but also to people who will never have anything to do with your life ever.
Absolutely.
You're comparing yourself to them. And so with the media, our kids did not get phones until 16, 17.
Okay.
I think Alina was the latest at 17, where she got a phone, and I bought her a flip phone.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't. It wasn't until I was 16 and driving. Driving was when we got a phone, and I got my mom's old little slide phone.
Yeah.
And I had that thing until freshman year of college. Yep.
There you go. And that's what it was for, so we could communicate and see what was going on. Alina, I think a year later, got her, she got her job and spent her own money and got a smartphone just because she's flipping it. It was bad. But as far as how do we monitor that? It was giving it to them later, letting them know this is what it's for. Basic things, go to bed, the phone's outside on the counter, and stuff like that. So just basic stuff, nothing big, but also open communication about it. Now, I did like the Norton phone monitoring things for my boys a couple of times, but I had to pay for that. You got all that money. So I did that for a while, and they knew it was there, and so there's accountability and things like that. But the main thing was that, Isaac, for me, growing up, I'm the last in six kids.
Okay.
So, and I do realize this trend with Kyla, our youngest now, that, I'm like, I'm tired, man. What did we do for Alina at this age? I don't know. I don't remember. But so that kind of thing of trying to, ABCs of parenting is just tough to keep up with. But it is one thing too. I know that the things that my dad taught us a lot. My mom taught us a lot. My dad was very straightforward in a lot of things, especially with us guys. He had 5 boys.
Sure.
He told us about lust. He told us about where you keep your eyes. He told us about all of that.
Yeah.
And then we go find out for ourselves.
You run into it eventually.
So, and that's just the way it is. And I realized I was heartfelt, and I listened to Dad, but still, there's that tendency. And then I had to learn, just like the other responsibilities. So, how am I going to handle this? And I know that's a key. Now, key for us is prayer. That's key for all the kids. If young parents are watching this, there'll be a time where all you got is prayer. Your kids moved out. They're on their own. They maybe move away from you. All you have is prayer. But while they're in your home, do more than that. We're supposed to keep our hands on them. But open communication. Like I asked Kyla just the other day, I said, hey, listen, she came home from work. She went into her room. She does her homework off of her phone and all of that stuff.
Sure.
I said, hey, and she's only got one social media thing on her phone.
Gotcha.
We won't let her have TikTok. If she snuck it on there, then she snuck it on there, and God knows what she's doing. And He'll get her. But any of it, it's a matter of where you go. It doesn't matter. It's not like Facebook is more pure than TikTok. It's just a matter of where you're looking. Sure. So we just, I asked her. I said, hey, Kyla, you doing okay with your phone? She said, yes. I said, okay, you're not letting it get to you with the social. I'm doing okay. I said, can I trust you on your phone? She said, yeah, you can trust me. So even when I ask something like that, my kids are so honest, I know that they'll tell me the truth. I don't feel their neck and see if their pulse goes. Sure. But they do have to look at me and either blatantly lie or be honest. And even that, when I blatantly lied to my parents, it would give me a little twinge later. You know, like, I did. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this because I did say that I wasn't. Or stuff like that. So just open communication and honest communication when that opportunity comes. I've never been one my dad didn't take us out on camping trips. My dad didn't have one-on-one talks with us. He didn't do none of that. None of it. Yet, my dad is he's my best supporter, our best prayer partner, encourager, has been an encourager throughout his life to us. That's awesome. All the guys. We trust him, we love him. We realized that the discipline that he gave, even though it was harsh, was out of what he knew as far as that he needs to give us some kind of barrier to help us.
He was motivated by love.
Yes, absolutely. So with my kids, it's an open communication and just try to get them to know with questions like that it's really on you. I'm not going to micromanage everything that you look at, but because I can't. So I want you to learn to know that certain things that you're looking at or certain things that may pop up going to be harmful and no good for anything. So
what would you say has been your perception of how they've dealt with that thus far?
Pretty good.
Okay.
I mean, they've, like I said, it starts early though. It starts early. It starts early with as kids realizing, I think for them to realize as kids, not that, honor your father and mother, but that, hey, there's certain ways that I want things done from you, and that's the way I want it done.
Sure.
I don't have to tell you every time why.
Sure.
I want them to learn as youngins that I'm not telling you why, I'm asking you to do it, and as you progress, the outcome comes. Like, it was simple things like my dad used to take us sometimes to a place, put us in the back seat. We had no clue where we were going.
Sure.
Didn't know whether we were going to work. Didn't know whether we were going to see. Where are we going? He wouldn't tell us. And he did that on purpose. When we get there, sometimes he took us to a movie, which he did very, very seldom.
Sure.
He'd take us to, and we like, oh, man. So I think I kind of got that. I didn't think about it consciously, but with my kids, I would take them and say, hey, everybody get your stuff cleaned up. In 20 minutes, we're leaving. And they would learn, get their stuff cleaned up, get in the car. No idea where we were going. And eventually, they didn't even ask.
Sure.
And we'd get there, and they knew it was something, that was either going to be fun or beneficial towards them. So we did that the same way with what I'm asking you to do in obedience.
Sure.
I'm not always going to tell you why, but it'll become clear eventually.
Gotcha.
So I think that's important in far as them learning that what we say you can trust. You may disagree. Mm-hmm. And Brevin was pretty good at saying, like that. Brevin didn't say a lot. But he didn't, certain things he didn't like.
Sure.
And if you asked him, he'd tell you why he didn't like it. And he'd give me a chance to explain it if need be. But it was a lot of move forward. This is what we want.
Sure.
And they feel like they can trust us.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What you talk some about it in terms of kind of one-on-one connection. You were talking about, your dad didn't have the space or time to really do that with y'all. But you've talked about with your own kids, you've noticed each one's got their own personality, they're their own person. What has it looked like for you to connect with your kids individually? Does it just come naturally and it just fits and you just slide into it? Is it something that you're thinking about, like, oh, this my oldest says she's going to be thinking this way, and so this is how I'm going to try to engage with this? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It came about naturally.
Gotcha.
Like I didn't read a book and try to figure out how do you have one. And I've heard a lot about, a guy even asked me a few years ago, he was like, hey, I'm going to take my boys up into the mountains for a few days.
Sure.
You want to bring your boys and we can have some time to talk to them about important things? And I said, hey, thanks for the invite. Let me get back to you. And I thought, these important things that he's talking about, I can do at Chick-fil-A, in the nice warm air with some cold lemonade. I don't need to go be in the cold.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was like, nah, I think I'm good, man. But some people really, you get away from things,
Sure.
And then that gives them a real focus. Bethel Christian Camp is the same way. We get them away from their norm distractions,
Sure.
And then bring them into something that they can think about. That wasn't my gear. That's not
Sure.
something that I related with. And plus, thinking about sending them or getting them away from the home, they're going to have to figure out how to sit down and focus in the middle of everything.
Sure.
That's the biggest struggle, I think, as a father, as parents, is that there's a billion things going on around you that can't be neglected, and yet still we got to find some time to get quiet with God by ourselves and then be able to share that out. Because that's the only way you're sharing something. If I really take this truth to heart and it really touches me, there's going to be a way. And I ask God for opportunity to give this to my children, and it comes out.
That's awesome.
And so those opportunities come. I did. So individually, I look at my boys and girls differently. I got two boys, two girls.
Yeah.
My girls, it was the main thing, protection. My boys, the main thing, don't be an idiot. And be useful to society.
How's that going?
It's going good.
It's going good.
It's going good. But I did take my two boys out last year. I said the same thing. I said, hey, Brevin, Tobias, let's go out into the woods. Now, I didn't tell them what we were doing. They got to gather together, and I was surprised that we're just walking into the woods. So again, this comes from early on. They were used to, Dad tells us to do something. What are we going to do? So we're just walking into the woods, here at Bethel. And so we get into the woods, and I forget what I told them, to be honest with you, but it was just a reminder about something.
Sure.
Wasn't a bad thing. It was just to be aware.
Sure.
You guys are men. I really appreciated what I've seen from you. Something in that general
Sure.
area. And I just told them I wanted to tell them face to face and let them know. So that environment, that was far enough. I didn't have to go spend 3 nights in the mountains.
Sure.
But they were like, well, what are we doing here? And to hear some words of affirmation from the dad and just to encourage them. And then we walked back out of the woods. But with my daughters, it's different just with protection. What was the question, Isaac? I lost my chain of thought.
Well, just making those one-on-one connections in terms of, each kid's got their own personality, and so learning what it looks like to parent to that personality.
Yeah, natural.
Gotcha.
And then having like little one-on-one talks. Like when I took the 2 boys, I would take girls or one of them and just go to Starbucks, riding in the van. For me, it has to kind of just kind of bring it up in conversation. Mm-hmm. And that's always fun, to come up with a question and then to hear their natural answer to it. Yeah. And to do that, I try to come up with questions that aren't the basic Sunday school questions. Do you know if the Trinity exists, or not just basic facts, but how do you feel about that? And letting them know that, especially in teenagers, how you feel about it counts a lot more for you than how I feel about it.
Sure.
And what I believe, it doesn't mean that that's what you believe.
Sure. Yeah.
And trying to bring up questions like that usually starts with conversations of people or situations outside the home. How do you feel about that? What do you think about that? Even Kyla, she's working a new job now, and she said the workers were standing close to her and talking about hating it when Christians would force their religion down their throats.
Sure.
The age-old, conversation never changes. And then their acceptance of abortion. And they were just having this general conversation. And then one of them turned to her and said, what do you think about that? And in that second, Kyla had to think, do I want to tell them I'm a Christian?
Sure.
Do they know I'm a Christian?
Yeah.
But she said, well, I'm a Christian, right? So, and even doing that, just a simple, she didn't have to go into Ecclesiastes and explain the Trinity. She just said, hey, I hear what you're saying about, I'm a believer. And that's who I follow. And so I just told her, hey, just stay strong, just like that. Because I asked her, I said, do you think those young people who that are completely against Christianity, that they will give up some of their beliefs to be a friend to you? She's like, no. I said, you shouldn't either. Don't give up your beliefs for friendship.
That's a good word.
Hold on close and let it have its effect that way. So, but Kyla is a different way. Kyla, when she would come out with me, we would go out and do jobs and stuff like that. I did that for all of them individually. She was really good at following instructions. I could give her 2 or 3 instructions at a time, and she could remember them, follow them. If she had a problem, she could ask. Tobias was not that way. Tobias would come and help. What else do you need? Do I have to go? Brevin was more. Brevin liked to know exactly what are we going to do, how are we going to do it. And he could figure it out.
Sure.
And figure things out that way, and he loved doing that. So much so when we were changing receptacles in the house, he stuck a fork in it to make sure, because he didn't want to come bug me.
Sure.
He found out for him. I had a tester, but he found out for himself.
He got his own tester.
He told me about that years later. I said, Brevin, we're in the same house. Yeah, I just wanted to try. And then Alina is much more read. She just takes in by reading, and she remembers, which I admire, which is hard for me.
Sure.
And is able to take those things and take them as, okay, this is the way it should be.
Yeah.
So that was easy to see for all of them.
Sure.
So in dealing with them and talking with them, we just apply all those things.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I want to wrap up with this question, which is, what have been some of the biggest challenges as it relates to the high school years, and then what's been some of the biggest joys? Yeah, challenges is kind of like what we was talking about before, when they're older and you still have to put your foot down about things. Now, I think we've been blessed in that. Sure. That I haven't felt like we've had to really struggle and fight. But consistency is a big one. Staying consistent with the same message of, what did we say before? We still mean that now. Yeah. And that's much easier when you start with them saying, hey, this is not just how we think or what we feel. This is the truth. Sure. And even in telling the kids, hey, this is what we believe, this is the truth. I don't have to say this is what I believe. Sure. That's irrelevant. This is the truth. Scripture is the truth. If you choose to deny it, that's all your choice, but you're walking away from one
one truth. That's it. So to be able to keep that consistent with the basic things of life that we need from them, or reminders about, payment is ready now,
Sure.
and stuff like that, it's been easier to just stick to the basics of things. But that is difficult, especially when you get to uncomfortable things. If you think, if you feel like your son is doing something that is going to be harmful to his own mind, like I say, screen time is just one that's an evil that is all over the place. And if we take his phone and smash it, then there's TV. If you take the TV and smash it, then there's Buddy's TV, and their phone, and somebody else's computer, and commercials. And you go to the movies now, and they show you can go to a PG movie, and they're showing the foulest of movies previews before the PG movie. So it's everywhere. So the basic is just dealing with, how do you deal with it? And with our children feeling failure I'm not just talking about screen time or sexual sin. I'm talking about just your thought life in general. I asked Alina, who's like a reader, she loves reading, and dealt with the teen kids in camp one week. And I said, Alina, how did you, remember we used to ask you how you were reading and how's your Bible reading going? You read pretty good, didn't you? She's like, I did okay. I said, well, how'd you keep it going? And she said, well, when you would ask us if we had been reading, or did you read this morning? That would remind us. What? But that was encouraging.
Yeah.
The fact that the simple reminder to, hey, you need to be seeking the Lord for yourself was good for her.
Yeah.
And she needed that. So it helped me see teenagers in general too. But that, hey, we're not going to do it on our own unless we get reminded, but the influence of it as well. But we have to have uncomfortable conversations about something that's serious. It's tough, but it's easier because they know my faults too.
Sure.
They don't know all my faults, and I don't go like, hey, I want to tell you everything I did wrong.
Sure.
Forget that. I just want to tell you the effects that the Bible says it can have.
Yeah.
And regardless of my opinion or my life experience, the Bible holds true on its own, which is why we push them to the Word. Go to the Word. Yeah, you're going to gain and lose from watching us, but the Word is the key. So as they move out, that's the main thing we need them to hold on to, because those conversations are bringing wrongs and failures up, but then realizing there's forgiveness and there's mercy and acceptance.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you did.
Yeah.
It really doesn't when it comes to us embracing you and accepting. Now, one of the tough things, my son Brevin asked me one time, he said, Dad, if we chose not to follow, what would you do? And he was talking about remaining in the house, if they were still in the house. I said, listen, I would let you know that you're going in the wrong direction. It would hinder our relationship for sure, but I'd still love you.
Sure.
I said, if you did certain things that you knew we did not accept, it may lead you to being put out of the house, but we'd still love you.
Sure.
Because I want them to know my stance for Jesus is over my stance for them. I stand stronger and want to be closer and pleasing more to God than to them.
Wow, that's
that
awesome.
goes for my wife. That goes now. This isn't like automatic, but this is what it has to be.
Yeah.
I'm living looking to find that Jesus is pleased with me, and I've got to be willing to put everything aside. He said that, you got to be able to put all of that, put it away for me. He wants to know that my heart's there, but he blesses us in what we're holding closest to us, and he's done that for us. So those are the hard things, being able to, and it's not every day. You can see them, you have to, but just meet them and talk to them and be honest about it. And I think it's important to be honest about what I see. Not telling them what they're doing or this is what I see.
Sure.
It looks like this is possibly happening. Can you fill it in? That has really helped a lot of them being able to fill in the holes of, or either say, no, that's not a problem. Then that tells me your heart is a little harder than I thought, or they are able to share and feel open to share that with us. And that has been a blessing. Biggest blessing is that the consistent teaching from 1 year old. How old is your little one?
6 months.
Be talking that truth. Be saying no. Be saying, making sure, because I say that children should all be voice activated. And this brings me to Brevin. Brevin was running. We were going out for a family walk. They were all little. Brevin was like 6, and he was sprinting out ahead because we had strollers and everything, and he was running right towards a busy intersection street. And I had baby in one hand, stroller. He had already gotten past my.
Sure.
And all I could do was yell out his name. And I said, Brevin. Brevin stopped in his tracks, turned around to see what I wanted. Biggest joy is that they've heard some of those things that we've been teaching them, and that they, in their interactions with other people or principals, they turn it around and say that, not telling us like, hey, thank you, Mom and Dad. No, not that, but you hear it in them and how they thought it about, or that should be this, and then the principles of the scripture come back to them as normal. This is the way it should be. And because I kind of say with them, we taught them in homeschool. We did homeschool. We taught them all these principles and all these ways that you should live and how you should interact with people. Sure. If you're in the mall and someone's walking right towards you, you be the one to move to the side. You know? Sure. And then we took them out to the mall, and they're like, what are you teaching us? Nobody follows these rules. Nobody in society. It's like, taking your kid teaching them to drive. Make sure you come to a complete stop. Make sure you look both ways. But you're out on a road where nobody's doing that stuff. But so that's always just that they're hearing it, that they're trying to apply it to what they're doing, even in the midst of a society that is not. And these days, don't care. Sure. I don't care about that. That's one of the biggest joys that we've seen. And we've seen it in all of them in different ways.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for coming and sit down and having this conversation.
Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
Parenting, me coming here and talking, I hate talking in front of people and stuff like that. But I feel very comfortable. I love you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Parenting is one of the most important things for us right now. Discipline of your children, staying on top of them. I feel like the biggest temptation is to give up and to say, my 4-year-old son, he's just hard-headed. He's always going to be that way. Just let him do what he wants to do. Or my daughter is she's strong-willed. Just let her, that's who she is in personality. They are who you mold them to be. And if you stay close to the word and you continue to put this word into them, God will mold them into who they should be. We are not born who we're supposed to be. I told my kids, I said, hey, kids, don't stay the same. Please change. Because I needed the same thing. But parenting has to be seriously every day. And one of the biggest relationships, it's relationship with parents. Sure. One of the biggest relationships, one is with God. That you are spending time. Dads, as tired as you are, spend time in the Word. I don't care what's going on. You have to spend time in the Word. That relationship is key. And then relationship with Dad and Mom. Their relationship with each other is key. Now, if that's missing in some homes, I realize it. Sure. But still, there can be talk about Mom. There can be talk about Dad. There can be respect, even if they're not in the home. Sure. That will count to help your children grow to honor both their parents. But it is extremely important in this relationship that God is taught and you don't give up. Sure. So I just want to make sure I say that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks so much.
Yep.
All righty.
That's it.
Thanks, man. That was it.
Oh, awesome, man.
Thanks for joining me today in this conversation about parenting. I hope it was helpful to you and that it sparks good conversation for your own family. I know that each family is unique and you're going to have your own questions about whatever you're facing with your kids. So don't ever hesitate to reach out to other families in our church or your pastors about any help that you might need as a parent.